Hey, child. I'm Brandon Victram,
And I am Florian Kennedy.
and thank you for tuning in to another episode of
Look
Look
at
at Us
Us Now
Now podcast.
podcast.
Per usual, we're just going to sit back, have a conversation, talk about our similarities, talk about our differences, and then play a little game or read a little story or something in the end. But before we get there, we always want to do our mental health check in. So, Florian, how is your mental health
I'm not
today?
fantastic today. I think
Okay.
I'm just physically tired, which can translate into emotional tiredness. It's just, I don't know. Everybody has those days. Well, maybe some more than others, but I'm not depressed. I'm not ecstatic. I'm just kind of existing today. I did read an article about passive suicidal
Oh,
ideation.
okay.
And it's a very interesting concept. If anybody I feel like some people, there are probably more people who struggle with this, but don't really know how to pinpoint what it is. So if there's anybody out there who just has those kind of empty void feelings or whatever, definitely do some research on that. It helped me to understand things a lot better. But
For me and the people who are watching who don't know what that is, can you explain what passive suicidal ideation means?
passive suicidal ideation is, and basically, I think I live every day of my life in passive suicidal ideation because it's passive because obviously it's passing, right? Um, Passive suicidal ideation, you are not really wanting to unalive yourself or making plans to do so. You just kind of don't care if you die.
Oh, okay.
Um, and you just kind of really are over being alive. I don't know. It's that could be a topic for another episode, maybe, but it's a little dark and but it's definitely something that I feel like needs to be discussed because if people don't understand something, then that's where the stigma and all these things come from. But to circle back, yeah, my mental health it's mental health,
Okay, your mental health is mental health healthing.
right?
Um, I kind of feel like you in the sense of just tired. Like that's it. Just working wise, just tired. My work schedule is normally very consistent, and this week there was a wrench thrown into the system. So it's like I was off a day, work a day, and off another day, and that to me throws everything off.
You're talking about with
So
your schedule specifically, like your days off being different than normal and things like that.
yeah, just
Yeah,
sit there.
I'm just talking.
But
Just
but yeah, because normally I have the 2 days off back to back, and then this time there was a day in between, which is today. So I go to work later on tonight to then be off again tomorrow, and then back to work again. So this it's just it's a little crazy because then I feel like I waste my whole off day asleep or trying to get sleep to prepare for the next day, and I don't like that. But other than that, like everything else is okay per usual. Just would you say existing to
um,
existing to survive,
existing and surviving.
existing and surviving, and
And I think that
that's
kind of
pretty
goes
much
hand in hand with the passive
yeah.
suicidal ideation. You're not really living most of the time. You're just existing. And sometimes, like we discussed, that's the best we can do.
Yeah, sometimes it's all you can do. Just make it through. But all right then. So I think today's topic is a good topic. It is aging and body types. Why I have the thingy in the bottom of the screen like that, I will never know.
It's there though.
But it's there. But aging and body types, more so specifically, I think since we are both gay in our communities. Obviously you've said before that I have Peter Pan syndrome where I don't want to get older and whatever. But there's also another thing in the gay community when it comes to body types. There are tons of different categories. And so there's people's preferences that go into that. So what has been your experience and how do you feel about aging and body types in the gay community?
Well, as far as what you would call them, are they called subtypes or sub whatever? The bears, the otters, the this, the that. I mean, I've never been behind that because at the end of the day, we're just human bodies. Like, why would you want to classify yourself into a specific or only have, as you say, a preference? But that's a separate subject. As far as aging, I've always embraced that. I will be 42 this year, and I'm an old lady, according to you. But when you stop and think about it, at 42, if the average life expectancy is, let's say, 75 or 80 even, my life is literally halfway over, right? And some people that scares. It scares you, I think. Aging is a part of the process. So why do we fear it so much?
Because I don't want to get old.
But why?
Because with getting old comes so many additional things and complications. Like when you get old, you instantly think that you're going to get to a point where someone's going to have to take care of you. Who is that going to be?
Okay, that's fair enough.
Like for me, like who is going to take care of me when I'm old?
That's fair enough, because those are actually things that I have thought about myself. But um, just like existing and surviving, when it comes to that, we don't know when that's going to happen, and that's just kind of one of those cross the bridge when you get there type of things. But that is a valid concern.
Yeah, because like I I guess I'm an empath to an extent, because like I can be like grocery shopping and then I'll see like an elderly person out doing it by themselves and it's a struggle for them, and then I instantly am like, where is someone to help this person? And then like I see myself being that person trying to do those things for myself and the struggle that I would have to deal with that, and I'm not ready for that. I don't want that for myself.
Well, and then also it's like, with the way the world is and the economy and everything like that, it's hard to put up money for retirement,
Yes.
and to have these plans in place ahead of time, which is what previous generations were able to do, make arrangements for when that time comes. And then also family factors, if you have a spouse to take care of you or children and things like that. That's a very valid concern. But aging, aside from that aspect of it, aging in itself, right, which leads into body types. Our bodies change as we get older. That's just how it happens. We wrinkle, we sag, we get age spots, we go bald, we lose our teeth, whatever. And I think to some extent, vanity is just human nature. Now, to what extreme, that's a different story. I am not opposed to plastic or cosmetic surgery, anything like that. It's not for me personally. I'm happy overall, and I've had body struggles most of my life. I used to be very, very overweight, and I still struggle with that. And like you said, in the gay community, body image is a really big thing, right? And sometimes I just have to stop, and this is, whatever as this may sound, I will just stand in front of a full-length mirror at my house and look at myself naked. Ooh. And in order for you to be okay with yourself, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And yes, I have some loose skin from weight loss, and yes, I have lipodystrophy from some of my medications, and I have breast tissue from my past, but these are things that just are. I can work out every day, and there are some things that are just going to be the way they are. And I think acceptance is the biggest part of that. I think that the human body is a magnificent tool, and it's the greatest tool will ever own. And so we should use that as much as we can for as long as we can.
Do you think at some point your body gets to a point where it's like, this is how I want to look? This is how your body is telling you this is how you're supposed to be?
So that kind of coincides with the weight struggle deal. Like my heaviest, I was like 230, and I went on, and weight loss can be addictive. Weight loss is very healthy in a lot of cases, but it can also be not the best, depending on how you approach it. And I got all the way down to from 230 to like 125.
Ugh.
And in my head, I was the finest thing in the world. You couldn't tell me shit. And everybody would, oh, you look so sick. Your jaw, your blah, 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 blah. And later on, seeing pictures of myself, oh yeah, it was bad. It was not great. And so my body typically will hang out between 150 and 160. I think that that's kind of where my body knows that it needs to be. Because even if I push and try, I can't break the 150 like anymore, and that's okay. Like that's fine. More than looks and vanity, it's just about being healthy. I think um, obesity, especially in America, we're the most obese country in the world, and there's so many quick fixes to weight loss. You know, but I think that everybody's experience is different with that, with confidence. And, there are morbidly obese people who have this big is beautiful mentality and whatever. And I'm not here to body shame. I will never do that. There's a difference between being a heavier person, but taking care of yourself. Love the skin that you're in, but at the same time, my cousin, the one who fell through the floor in the trailer, she passed away at 40 years old because of complications from her weight. And my grandmother, our grandmother, because it was on the same side of the family, she was morbidly obese. And she would always tell my cousin, I'm concerned about you. I don't want you to end up like me, immobile because of your weight. And Tanya would always feel attacked, like she was putting her down or body shaming her or things like that. And that's not the case, because look what happened. And so it's a fine line as far as body types go. I don't think there's such a thing as being big boned.
I mean, of course not.
Because when you strip away the exterior of two people, our bone structures but yeah, I mean, being in my 40s now, which I've discussed in several other episodes, your mentality changes as you age. And it's not about superficiality for me anymore. I don't have to have a six pack or a bubble butt or a 29-inch waist. Like if I'm happy with myself and I can look at myself in the mirror naked, it's good enough for me. Or how do you feel about your body? Because I know, like myself, you have had struggles with weight as well.
Yeah. When I was younger, I was always super skinny. I don't know exactly what age I was when weight started sticking to me, but I know it was in my 20s, and I got the biggest I've ever been last year. And I was like, no. So I started my weight loss journey taking the weight loss shots, and they worked. I lost 67 pounds, and I've gained 20 of those pounds back because I had to get off of those shots. But now I'm back on them again. Well, I'm starting to get back on them again. So I was happy that there was something that was able to assist me, because I am not a super active workout person. I am not someone who is going to eat the healthiest of things. Well, healthy at all, honestly, with me when it comes to those kind of things. So the shots for me were a good like boost, because when I get on them and I get in them, I want to work out. Like I want to start walking. I want to start going to the gym. Like I wouldn't say I was obsessed with going to the gym, but I was excited to want to go to the gym, because I feel like it's a, like I said, a boost, like a stepping stone. It gave me the motivation to want to start doing those things. And then when I started seeing the weight fall off and all that kind of stuff, I was like, okay, I like it. But for a while, when I got off the shots, the weight stayed away, which is good. But of course, in time, it does come back.
You have to maintain it.
You have to maintain it, which is what happened with me. Was I got off the weight loss shots because I didn't have the same employment I had before. So obviously financially I couldn't afford it. So with that, I wouldn't say I was depressed, but I guess I kind of was depressed because I couldn't afford to do the things I was doing before. I had to work harder in other spaces to financially take care of myself. So I didn't have the time or the energy to want to work out and do all those other things. So again, I think you have to find what's right for you. And for me, that was good for me. But yeah, when it comes to just aging in general, I don't want to get older.
So
like I know it's
going to happen.
It's happening while I'm sitting here in this chair.
Correct.
But I don't look forward to reaching an age where I can't do for myself.
So is it more about that and not the vanity side of it?
Oh yeah, it's more so just worried about like how am I going to take care of myself? And at any point that could happen. That could happen to me tomorrow, where I could no longer take care of myself and somebody would have to help me out. And then that's a fear. Like, it's just like, well, what do I do? Like, how do I maneuver in this situation? And I don't know. I don't like thinking about that.
Well, aging for you is different for me because black don't crack and Asian don't raisin, and then you and then you have white people who probably age the most rapid out of any ethnic group, and it's because of the lack of melanin in our skin. Like that's definitely what it is. And when I was younger, you said earlier about being obsessed with the gym or whatever, and that was me. I would go every single day, sometimes 2 times a day. And I felt like if I skipped one day, in my mind, I was going to gain all 100 of those pounds back.
Ooh.
And I would go to the tanning bed and all of these things. And yes, this works in the moment, but you have to think of the long term. And I have seen white women that obviously have spent their entire life in tanning beds and they look like a leather purse, and that's not cute. So I think you can maintain your youth to a certain degree without having to resort to cosmetic surgery or the easy way out, so to speak. And you mentioned the weight loss injectables. Our opinions differ on that. I'm not going to judge anyone for taking that route because clearly it's successful and it's FDA approved and whatever, but I kind of look at it like an easy way out because you can lose that weight without having to work out. You just take a shot and then there you go. And once you don't have that anymore, if you don't do what it takes to maintain it, you see what I mean? It's like cheating to me, I guess, in my mind. In my mind, that's how I look at it. And no matter, even with exercise, you can't outrun a bad diet. You can't. So those are things, and those are things that you and I differ on. Like, you don't eat a single vegetable. You can say this because it's true. And it goes with aging and body types because we have to take care of ourselves. And I have unhealthy habits. Trust me, obviously. But I don't think that it's our job. We're not meant to stay young forever. It's one thing to look good for your age and things like that, but especially with gay men in their 30s, they start getting Botox and, like jaw lifts and body sculpting and implants. Like, why? You're 30 years old. By the time your body ages, that shit's going to look terrible on you. It's going to look like you're wearing a Halloween mask. And I feel like people in general with aging and body are so caught up in the quick fixes and they always end up backfiring. So I'm not tooting my own horn for aging gracefully or naturally, but that's what works for me. And genetically, my grandmother she'll be 76 years old this year and she looks good for her age. My mother will be turning 60 soon. So genetics obviously do have a lot to do with it. And some people are just lucky in that. And then some people age really quickly, like really quickly, or they wake up one morning and, oh shit, I look 30 years older, just like that. I turned the corner. But yeah. So.
I think also another thing with aging is environmentally.
Correct.
Because like, not tooting my own horn and not putting other people down. But if I go to like Facebook and I see people that I went to school with, some of these people are like unrecognizable, or it's like we're in the same age range, and I just look at them like, whoa,
right,
wow, like what's happening? What has happened to why? It's gonna sound bad. Why do you look like that?
Why you're right.
Yeah, like I don't understand. Like, obviously gaining weight, losing weight, those kind of things I get, but it's just other things about it. I'm just look at some people and I'm just like, ooh. Yeah,
and you like environmentally. Well, a lot of that things like drug use and smoking and alcohol, those things age you very rapidly. The sun,
being in the sun,
it
constantly.
does. And I do have a little color now because I spend more time outdoors than I used to. But you and everybody else used to make fun of how white I was, and I was white.
You were white,
like super pale, and to me that was beautiful. Right, I enjoyed my pale skin. And that's naturally how my body is. So one could say, oh, I'm changing my body by, and I don't tan as in like baby oil and laying out there for hours, but there are benefits to the sun. But once again, it's just about moderation and being healthy. And, I'm 42. I've seen people my same age that look like they're in their 60s,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I look super youthful, but I have people tell me all the time that I don't look as old as I am. And sometimes I'm like, you're just being nice, whatever. Like I'm definitely developing some lines and wrinkles and puppet mouth, but that's okay. It's just, for me, it's just part of the cycle of life. When you think about it, we kind of, as we get older, and you mentioned about not having someone to take care of you and this and that and the other, we kind of go backwards at some point because we're born a baby, no hair, no teeth. We need somebody to take care of us. We can't control our bowels. We grow up, and then it's kind of like back down the slope as we get older. We lose our hair, we lose our teeth, we lose. So I guess what I'm trying to say is just enjoy your body while you're in it because it's going to change. You're not going to be young forever. Um, and I know we keep mentioning the gay community, but it really is a problem with us because most, and I'm not going to say most, a lot of gay men are very superficial.
Do you have an issue with seeing Asian people? I'm gonna explain it. So I was having this conversation recently. Like, maybe it's the Peter Pan syndrome in me. I just cannot wrap my brain around the fact that I'm going into
Your 40s.
my 40s because in my brain, my mama is still 40.
That makes
Does
sense.
that make sense?
That makes sense.
Because growing up, like when people ask you, like your parents were in their 40s, and now it's like to wrap my brain around, I'm going in that. It don't make sense, man. Like I don't look at my mama and be like, my mama is about to be 60 or something like that. I'm just,
Well, I think that's true for everybody, honestly, because, and I don't think that it's so much as like the physical aging process, but just knowing and just like with aging and not having anybody to take care of you and death, for those of people who are afraid of death, it is a very big fear. We will lose our parents one day. That happens. And so I think that is what causes the mentality of you always seeing them as younger. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I don't like to think about. Just like you don't like to think about having somebody to take care of you. But I am aware of the fact that it's going to happen. But yeah, sometimes because my mother had me very young, and so in a lot of ways, we kind of grew up together. She was 16 when I was born, and so most people my age, their parents are in their 70s or older sometimes. And so I think that benefits me in the fact that I get to have her here longer. But yeah, I understand. I completely understand what you're saying about that. And same thing with grandparents, because my grandmother, she was 35 when I was born. And now that I'm seeing she's not as mobile as she used to be, and she's physically aging and things like that. And you have to confront that. Like at some point, you're gonna have to confront that.
well, with me, it's not even just looking at my mama. It's just like if I just saw a random person and someone asked me to describe that person, I would probably immediately be like, they're in their 40s, but they're probably in their 60s because my brain still is just like, they're not that old. I don't know how else to say it.
Well, like Fleetwood Mac says, children get older, I'm getting older too. And on the flip side of that, my nephews, I remember the day they were born. Like it was not that long ago. One has already graduated high school, one is in his senior year. Like, and my youngest sibling, I was there the day my mom delivered him. I helped to take care of him, I helped to raise him. And now they're 24 years old and they're an adult and doing their own thing. And it's just seeing that happen in turn makes you realize, oh fuck,
Yeah.
I'm getting older too.
Yeah, it's weird. It's
Yeah.
weird. Like, cause I have cousins, and I mean, I have nieces and nephews, but that's a separate story because I wasn't around them. But like, I have cousins who are now having kids,
yeah.
and I'm just like, wow. Like I remember when you were a baby and now you're having a baby, and then I when I go around those kids, it's awkward because they don't know who I am
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not around as much.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes me think like, oh my God, this is going way too fast. Like
Right.
this is happening way too fast. Next thing I know, those kids will be having
Having
kids.
kids.
It's just like slow down.
And
Like slow.
I would say that's something that I
Pause.
won't ever experience that because I'm never going to have children. But for example, my grandmother, I was the firstborn grandchild, and then my brother had kids, and my cousins had kids, and then they had kids, and now my grandmother is a great grandmother, and now her great grandchildren are old enough to have kids
Yeah.
of their own. So, and I will never experience that, like I said. But if I were to be able to experience that, that would be something like, wow, you know. And it is the fact that my nephews are old enough to start their own families now is just
It's
crazy. It's
crazy.
crazy to me. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. It just
But
makes you think. It just makes you think. But
but
okay.
you know, and then like even as far as body types go and body imaging or body image issues, things like that, like and this might be a little off subject, but I don't really think so. My mother is a breast cancer survivor and she lost one of her breasts. And I was there the day that she took her bandages off and the drains and all that stuff. And that was a heartbreaking moment because that's part of a woman's identity.
Mm-hmm.
And to lose that, you know, and you feel less attractive and you don't feel like as much as a woman, the same way a man would probably feel if he had testicular cancer and had to have his testicles removed and things like that. And I don't think it's as much about aging and your body changing necessarily, but when things like that happen, I've been fortunate not to have any major surgery, but people who have had to have major surgery and have a lot of scarring and things like that, there's a lot of different factors that go into body image and body types than aging, you know. And I can't necessarily speak on a lot of those things, but I think it encompasses a lot of different things besides weight and aging and beauty standards. And then you do have beauty standards, American beauty standards, European beauty standards have always been the most attractive, you know. And that's another episode as well. But by being compared to other people, colorism is an issue within the black community. You know, lighter skin is more desirable. And then with us, we want darker skin. People who have curly hair, they want to flat iron it. People who have straight hair, they want to get perms. And it's just like, it always seems like we want what we don't have, no matter what side you're on.
Yeah.
And I think that is also a problem as well.
Okay.
That's my opinion about that topic. This was actually a really good topic. I think we do really well because I'm terrible. In my mind, they're great ideas, but they never translate. So when you come up with things like this, and I'm unaware until we begin filming, oh girl, bye. Yeah.
Okay. So next we're going to move into a moment. I kind of have been liking this recently. I don't think it always works out well, so hopefully it will today. But we're going to move into a Reddit story time. And then the story time is going to relate to the topic.
Okay.
So we have someone's story. It starts off saying body image struggles in gay community when you are over 30. Do any of you really struggle with body image issues as you get older? I was always average height, extremely slim, toned, and had lots of body confidence. As I got older, I gained a bit of weight, maybe 2 stone. So I'm assuming they're
British.
Yeah. So I'm still not big at all, but I find myself so critical over body proportions and it completely changes how I dress. Going to clubs and seeing so many people, particularly the gay scene, who are athletic, toned, or muscles only seems to add to it, and I feel there's a pressure to look a certain way. I never felt like this in my 20s, and I wondered if anyone else has felt the pressure as they've gotten older. So yeah, we kind of just talked about it.
We did, and I think
Yeah.
that is a very real thing because and this is one of the reasons we've discussed before why I don't really do Pride and the gay bars and things like that because it's all about looks. You know, you want to be the hottest one in the club. You want to walk around with your shirt off because you spend, 7 days a week in the gym and all these things. And yeah, 30 is when And I think we've gotten a little better with that. 30 used to be what they would call gay death, you know? And I think we're in a better place than that now, I would hope. But that's definitely still a real thing. Um, and then sometimes it goes the other way. Like in my 20s, I wasn't extremely body confident because I was very heavy throughout my 20s. And so mine kind of came a little bit later and then it went back the other way. Um, but yeah, I don't think we should ever be pressured just because of a beauty standard.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure what 2 stones is. I'm pretty sure it's like 2 pounds. And
No, it's way
it's
more than
more.
two. Yeah, it's a lot of
Hey
weight.
Siri, what is 2 stones in pounds? 28 pounds.
Yeah,
Okay. So 28 pounds still is, it's not a crazy amount of weight, but
that's a lot of weight.
I get why someone would feel that way about 20 pounds. Like me right now, literally I've gained back 20 of the 67 pounds. So I see it. So I can relate to that. It's not a lot of weight, but it's enough to see a difference in your body. And if you feel a little self-conscious about it or whatever, I feel like you should take whatever steps you need to in order to make yourself feel better about
For
the situation.
yourself.
For
For
yourself,
yourself.
yes. I haven't seen what they look like, so I can't go off of what they
Mm-hmm.
may see or what they may want to work on and all that kind of stuff. But I think at the end of the day, we have to stop trying to compare our bodies to other people's bodies, because we can compare ourselves to someone thinking that they look great on the outside, not knowing that they're probably going through their own health struggles, which are causing them to have less weight and things like that. So once we start stopping the comparison from one person to the other one, I think that would help us out a lot in the long run. And I have one more story. This one's a tad bit longer. It's not that crazy. It says aging and gay men. Hey guys, so I know sometimes aging can have negative connotations around it. Gays make a lot of jokes like gay death at 30, or
Mm-hmm.
like he looks like he has one foot in the grave, while gesturing to an older gay with white hair at the bar. But I feel that those jokes or attitudes towards older gay men are projecting of anxiety towards getting older and facing your own mortality. I know personally I'm almost 30 and feel anxious, but I want to spin this into a positive experience rather than focusing on the negative. My question is, reflecting on your own life, how was your experience aging? 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70? What do you have to look forward to? How was dating as older compared to younger? Did you have less men interested, or do you still find a lot, but the type of guys just changed?
Mm-hmm.
Were you single? Did you find a man? Did the sex or sex drive change throughout the years? Any big mistakes you made, and any advice for me to avoid making those mistakes as I get older? Cheers, guys, and thanks in advance. This was good.
It
This
was
is
good.
actually what we should have did the whole entire topic on, because he asked a lot of questions to focus
And we
on.
did cover a lot of those topics, but yeah, that
We
was
definitely spoke on the gay death thing. You spoke about that. And then they said he looks like he has a foot in the grave. The first question was, how was dating as older compared to younger? So how has dating changed for you as you've gotten older?
so me personally, and I'm an honest person. I'm very transparent. I'm not ashamed. In my 20s, probably up until my early 30s, dating was never the focus. It was about sex. I had several partners in that time, and it was more about the physical. You know, I didn't really turn to the focus of actually dating probably until my mid to late 30s.
Okay.
I feel like dating becomes more substantial the older you get, because it's different for us than it is for heterosexual people. You know, they date with intention of getting married and starting a family and things like that. And I just feel by nature it's different for us. So I would say that dating is still hard. It's one of the hardest things out there. But it has definitely become more substantial because the older we get, we're more secure in what we want as people. Whereas when we're younger, we're just kind of looking for that validation for our bodies and things like that.
For me, dating older, I wouldn't even say it's been harder. I just don't care.
Right.
Like, I don't. First of all, when I was younger, I was the friend in the group that was always in a relationship. Like, I never really dated a person. It was like I got to know them and then we were together. I don't. For some people that works. For some people it does not. I would guess I would have to say it did not work out for me in the long run. But now I just don't feel the urge or seek to date per se. I'll go on a date. I can hang out and all that kind of stuff. I just want somebody that just has similar interests. We can go do things together. We can go places and all that kind of stuff. You have yours, I have mine, and we just go on about our lives. Like if you are dating somebody else or with somebody else or whatever, that's whatever. Like I ain't your man. You ain't my man.
So you're more into companionship than
Yeah, I
dating,
just I don't need it.
not romantically.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like sex wise, like sex drive, I'm just
That
when
definitely
I'm
changes.
when I'm in a relationship with someone, I'm a Scorpio, so I'm naturally a sexual person. Like I like sex, but then outside of being in a relationship, I don't have time for it. I don't want to be trying to hook up.
Right.
It takes too much energy to hook up. I could just take care of what I need to take care of myself and move on with my life. There's so many extra things you have to worry about with trying to have sex with people, and you got to plan it out, and you got to make sure this is done and that is done. It's a lot.
Well, not only that, it's just, and I'm not slut shaming. I'm not doing any of those things. Sex is human nature, and that's perfectly fine. But for me personally, hookups are just gross. I used to be all about a quick hookup and, whatever, sometimes multiple in one day. Like, and at the older I get, for me personally, the last time I experienced one of those situations, I just felt empty and gross afterwards. It's awkward because you're done with your business and like you're putting your clothes back on and there's no conversation to
It's
be had.
transactional.
It's just, yeah. And if I want to get off, I can take care of that myself.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at as far as that goes. But yeah, you mentioned about sex drive changing and things like, and that is definitely true in my case. I think physiologically that happens with all men and women, I suppose. Yeah, and I've gotten to the point where if I'm going to have sex, I want there to be an emotional connection or at least some kind of respect for each other. I want to know at least your last name before we have sex. Like, and different things work for different people. But in my experience, the older I get, it's all about things that are more substantial. Not saying that we have to date for 6 months and whatever, or get married before we have, like, no. But I would never put out at least until I would say 4 dates. Me, personally. Because I'm a lady of virtue these days.
Come on, lady of virtue. No, and one of the other things that person asked were, what were some dating mistakes that you made? I know for me, I I have dated some people that I don't want to try to diagnose people, so I'm not going to do that. But I've dated people who, from my perspective, weren't really secure with who they were.
Yeah.
And so they projected that back onto me, or they wanted me to be a certain type of person to fit their mold of what they wanted. Like I have dated somebody before that he was very traditionally masculine and he was very, okay, just break it.
I mean, I was trying to adjust it. I'm not, there we go.
He was very traditionally masculine. Like he was a really buff, big man or whatever. But if I didn't do what he wanted or say what he wanted or whatever, he would get so angry. And it was just like he never hit me or nothing like that. But he would just do crazy stuff like punch a hole in a wall, or I'll be driving down the road and he would just yank the car into park in the middle of driving. Like, not like just driving like 10 miles an hour, but like driving 40 miles an hour just because you didn't say or do what they wanted. Like I dealt with that kind of stuff. So that's one of the biggest mistakes that I would say I've made dating. Just dating people that I feel were not ready to be dating themselves.
Or not only that, but people whose expectations are unreasonable. Like you mentioned masculine. There's this whole thing, no fats, no femmes, no whatever, and that's disgusting. But obviously, I am a little more on the feminine side than the masculine side. I feel like
A little? No, I'm
I knew
joking.
that was coming.
I'm joking. I'm
I
joking.
feel like I feel like most days I'm somewhere in the middle. Some days I'm definitely a little more feminine, depending on who I'm around and my comfortability level and things like that. But being feminine, and everybody's definition of feminine is different, so that's why I use quotation marks. We cannot help what our person. Now, me personally, I have dated guys that were more on the feminine side. I do prefer more masculine men, not like you were mentioning, like buff and punching holes and anger issues. Like that does not make you masculine, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But I think that is a dating mistake, is blocking like no fats, no femmes, whatever. Everybody does have a preference or a type, so to speak. But if you are limiting yourself to a certain type of man or woman or whatever the case may be, you're closing yourself off to a lot of possibilities.
Correct.
So that is a mistake that I've made in the past, and that people I feel like have made with me, because there have been guys that I would talk to, and then like we would text or whatever, and then the minute they would hear my voice, you know, and that's just how I talk.
Yeah.
And on a side note, I've always been very secure about my voice. This podcast has helped me to come to terms with that. Hearing myself, seeing myself, it is helping me with my self-esteem, right? And I feel like you should never try to be somebody you're not just to please another person. And that is something I've done in relationships as well, which is a really big mistake.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that second story brought up a lot of questions, and I feel like I was able to relate a lot to what they were saying. Ooh, not your phone.
I was so positive I put it on silent.
But no, I just think overall, like the older I've gotten, the whole no fats, no films thing for me has kind of just fizzled. I understand people having their preferences and people liking what they like and people wanting what they want or whatever kind of stuff. But I would never put that in a profile or something like that. But I have realized that I'm a lot more open to just people in general.
Right.
I have not gotten to as far as openness as you have, like with
trans men. Let's talk about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's talk about it. I've not gotten to that. What is the word? I've not gotten to that point yet. Like it has not is not something that I have tried. Oh, it sounds bad to say try, but it's not something I've experienced or explored.
Right.
And it's not something that at this moment I think I want to.
Right.
Because I know that trans men are men, but I think for me, I'm just more so attracted to
a penis.
A penis. Yeah, for lack of a better term, to a penis.
Well, see, and it's the flip side for me, because I am what you call a gold star gay. I had never had sex with a woman or experienced a vagina in any capacity. And my first experience with a trans man, it was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And for me, I realized it's not about the genitalia. It wasn't the vagina that made me not interested, or whatever I'm trying to say. It's about them. And we just talked about masculinity, but it is about the masculinity.
Right.
If it were a female with feminine features and breasts and the high pitch, that is what I am not attracted to. So when I did open my mind, and say, well, because there were times like when I was in high school, I tried to have sex with my best friend, and I just it felt dirty. It felt wrong. And I did not experience that with the trans men that I've been with. It was very, very enjoyable. And I would be open to a committed relationship with a trans man. So yeah, it's not necessary. That goes hand in hand with your genitalia is not what defines your gender.
Correct.
And I think me knowing that and believing that, I think that plays a part in the fact that I am okay with sex with a trans man. And if I were to be in a relationship, you say I like a penis. I like penises a lot too, but the absence of a penis would not be a deal breaker for me, so to speak. Side note, there was a point when you and I were together, you made a comment that if I fully transitioned into a female with vagina, breast, everything, you would still be with me. So I feel like you and I are on the same page in a way of it's more about emotion and love, so to speak,
Personality.
than genitalia.
Yes.
Right. Um,
Which is why I think it would be, which is why I think I haven't gotten to that point yet, because I still need that personality, that emotional connection attached to the genitalia to want to be with that genitalia. Does that make sense?
So
It's not something that I would want to have a hookup with a
right,
trans man. I
right.
need more than just,
Yeah.
my name is Paul. Let's do it.
So hypothetically speaking, and I'm not condoning or condemning this, everybody has their reasons. If you were to meet a guy and you guys were talking and you went on a few dates and everything was great and he did not disclose to you that he was a trans man, and let's just say that you did develop feelings for him and it turned romantic, and then at that point before you became intimate he says, okay, I need to be honest with you, XYZ, would that change anything for you?
I don't believe so. I think it's just something that I have to be in the moment with. Now, I have dated a trans man that I knew was a trans man. And then when it was
Interesting.
about to get to that point, I noticed inside of me, this was years ago, I noticed inside of me, I just wasn't interested in that. Does that make sense? I never saw what was in their pants. They never
Right.
saw what was in my pants. But when we were getting to that point, I felt myself closing off to that possibility.
Do you think that subconsciously it's the fact that in your mind you knew that at one point they were a woman and that mental picture, does that make sense to you?
It was never a mental picture of a woman for me. It was always a mental picture of a vagina for me.
Okay.
And that was where everything about me was not interested in that part. The person I was interested in, all the outside aesthetics and everything about the person was great. It was just when it came to the point of getting ready to have intercourse, I just was not there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I ever will be there.
Right. And I used to say the same thing until, and you said you're a Scorpio, you're blah, blah. I'm a Sagittarius, and we're very adventurous. I don't really go by the zodiac, but according to what they say, and it is true, I will try anything one time. There's no way to tell if you don't like it unless you've experienced it. That experience could have gone one of two ways, and it went in a way that I didn't necessarily expect it to. But just like no fats, no femmes, whatever, I feel like cis men and trans men, they're beautiful in their own ways. They're attractive in their own ways, but in different ways. You know what I mean? Just like I've dated outside of my race, Black, Hispanic, and these men are beautiful to me in different ways. There are characteristics and things about one type of man that are attracted to me in a different way that they would be for another man. That doesn't mean that I have a preference, because I really don't. I really don't. I've been with larger men, I've been with smaller men, men of different races, heights, things like that. And I'm not putting words in your mouth, but based on what you said, I feel like for you, it is more about sexual attraction, or not more about more about sexual attraction than the chemistry, right? Because you said yourself that things were good until you got to the point of the anatomy, right? So would you say that that's a deal breaker for you?
I don't.
You don't know.
Like I don't. I've only had that one experience, so I don't know.
And
but I'm also not actively seeking trans men either. So I don't know.
Right. And so when it comes to that, there is a fetishism about trans people,
which I don't want to ever
exactly
do.
Exactly. And that is a problem, especially within the straight community. There are a lot of men who are closeted. They are attracted to trans women, but that threatens their masculinity, and they will never let that. And that's why there are so many murders against trans women, which is very unfortunate. And that's a topic for another episode, maybe. But I think that it all comes down with being secure in yourself. I really, really do. And I have had friends in the past that were heterosexual men, loved women, never thought about being with a man, no homosexual tendencies whatsoever, but they were non-judgmental. We would go to gay bars together. We would go to drag shows together. And that, to me, that makes you more of a man than being buff and conservative and rough-necked and things like that, because it takes a true man to be comfortable in their own sexuality to not feel threatened.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So this has been a good
It
conversation.
was a really good conversation. It was a really good topic. I'm proud of myself.
Oh, girl, bye.
Pat on the back. I should do it this way. Pat on the back. But
We just have differing ideas, because there are things that I would love to discuss that Brandon's not very privy to, and vice versa. So we meet in the
I'm
middle.
not privy to it. I just don't like talking about super heavy stuff like politics and all that kind of stuff. Cause like, girl,
I mean, I hear you, but it's something that definitely affects what we're talking about now in a lot of ways.
maybe we can do those kind of episodes and we can have a guest, and then I just won't. I'll step away.
You can be the mediator.
I don't even have to be a part of the conversation. I just don't like talking about politics.
And we can do the podcast without both of us. Like,
That's what I'm saying. Like, you could have a guest. Like, you could sit in your chair and it could be you in a conversation with somebody else. It's just called Look at Us. I don't think that it's a Look at Us podcast. No, but just in general, just look at us. Whoever the guest is, look at us.
Well, and like the episode with Reggie, that was a good one. It did turn a little serious. Me and Reggie had the ball rolling on some really good topics that I am really passionate about, but I could sense your discomfort.
Yeah.
And so we kind of reeled that back. But I think that would be a really great idea. And then you could have a podcast with somebody about how wonderful Beyonce is, because I have nothing to say about that.
Because she's that girl.
Yeah, okay.
She's that girl.
Just don't steal music out of her backup dancer's car.
Do not do that.
Do not do that.
Because we're coming for you. Whoever it was that stole this stuff, we're coming for you.
You're coming for them.
The BEYhive will find you.
Oh dear.
And you will pay. But I think it was a really good episode. Before we wrap up, do you have anything upcoming?
My life is boring. And I'm okay with that. That comes with aging as well. Not necessarily anything upcoming, but in the past couple of days, I've just really had this revelation that, my life is boring. I'm very much a homebody, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I have had the desire to start being more sociable and going out more and getting a little out of my comfort zone with making friends, because I've never been big on that. Making friends is hard.
Yeah.
But there have been a few people at work that I've gotten close to, and we share things in common, and going out every now and then for something different, fun. So I guess that's upcoming. That's something that I want to try to do, and be a little more social and not as introverted. So we'll see how that goes.
I get that. For me, upcoming, same things. I have a project that I'm working on. I hope to have at least one episode done by the end of the year. I'm not stressing myself out over it. Gonna take my time. I do thoroughly enjoy doing this podcast. It makes me happy. I'm excited to come home to do this podcast. Like, I think it just feels good to talk and know that someone is listening to it.
And somebody can identify.
Someone can relate to it. I don't have to have, this podcast doesn't have to have a billion people tuning into it, but the people who are tuning into it, I thank you for tuning into it. And the people who are in the comments, thank you. But yeah, it just feels good just to talk. Like, we obviously talked before, like we would have these conversations or whatever, but sometimes it's just good to just have it filmed and you can go back and watch it, or it just sparks further conversation. So for me, I just want to continue doing this. I also want to do more things on my own, like reviews and stuff. Like, I watch stuff you don't watch. Like, absolutely. I love reality TV. And so I would like to just start talking about the stuff that I see on reality TV a little bit more, because that's just my thing. I never thought I would get into Love Island. People forced me to watch Love Island. I am obsessed with Love Island. It is so good.
Obsessed is a strong word.
I'm obsessed with Long Island. I'm obsessed.
You said Long Island.
Sorry. With Love Island. I'm obsessed with The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. That's the one that has me in a chokehold, and I am so mad that this season is over with, and like I want to fight somebody, because the season needs to be on right now. Like, it is such a good show. And Please watch that because I need somebody to talk to about it.
Well, and
you would actually like
that's
it.
what I said. Yeah, for
You would like
because
it.
I thoroughly enjoy documentaries about cults and religions and true crime, and it's the I can't say that because I'll get canceled. It's the unnecessariness of certain reality shows.
Which is why you would like The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, because it is a lot of unnecessariness, but it's a lot of unnecessariness because of the religion part,
yeah.
which is what would entertain you. It's so good. Oh, it's so good. And they have so many like secrets and stuff, and it be coming out, and it's just, oh, it's good.
Just like and the name of the show fails me now, but it was Lisa Remini talking about her experience in the Church of Scientology and things like that, and it was extremely. It was Lisa Remini.
Yeah, I thought you said Lisa Rinna.
No.
Okay.
What was the name of it? But yeah, that was a really good series as well. And you were talking about how much you enjoyed the podcast, and I do too, because we are clearly two different people from two different backgrounds. We have different opinions, we have different interests. And if the world as a whole could take notice and just sit down and talk about stuff
World, take notice.
and be respectful, the conversations need to be had because not everything is black or white, no pun intended. So yeah. So upcoming as well, more of these episodes, I guess.
More of these episodes, and you're going to watch The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Okay.
Yes!
That sounds like a Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, something, and BEYhive.
It's so good. It's so good. The first season was really good, but the second season, oh my God. But anyway, that's what we have upcoming. So just be on the lookout for our next episode coming soon. I think that's it, right?
I do believe so. And am I right or wrong that maybe on our next episode we might have a guest? We're in the works for doing another episode like that.
Yeah.
And I really think that's a great idea.
We have a couple of guests hopefully lined up. But yeah, you should bring in some guests. Some of the people you work with.
Absolutely.
Like, let's talk to them about some stuff.
The camera is going to be an issue if I have Nico join us because he is 6'5".
Okay, so we would have to do some
shoot from up there.
Yeah.
And he, side note, and it really would be a good idea to see if he could join us because he's a young kid, but he is so in tune with things, and we share a lot of ideas. He's 23.
Okay.
And he's going to Emory to become, a physician and things like this. And we're very different from each other. Mm-hmm. I'm 20 years older than him. I could be his dad. But that's another thing. It's not about the physical and if everybody could find one little thing that they have in common, there's so much that you can build on top of that. And I think that's very important in America today. Mm-hmm. Because America has a problem.
America has a problem.
Huge problem.
A problem.
Okay, then. Well, thanks a lot, you guys. This has been a lot of fun. I would love to hear what you think about the episode. Comments are always a good thing. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you think. And continue the conversation amongst yourselves.
Yes. Again, I am Brandon Victram.
And I am the incandescent Florian Kennedy.
And thank you for tuning in to Look at Us Now podcast. Bye, child.
Bye-bye.
Incandescent. Clear.
No, that's transparent. So. But when I was white, I was transparent because I was see-through on Snow White.
Hey, child. I'm Brandon Victram.
And I'm Florian Kennedy.
And thank you for tuning in to another episode of Look at Us Now podcast.
Oh, I'm supposed to say it every time. No, we can keep going with this. It's natural. Look at Us Now podcast.
On today's episode.
I'm playing with you. Go ahead.
But why?
Okay, I'm listening.
Okay, we're going to start over. In 3, 2...